G'day, it's fugitive Australian journalist Shane Dowling from the website and YouTube channel Kangaroo Court of Australia. Now, I've just published an article titled Anthony Albanese Attacks Grace Tame in support of Lachlan Murdoch. I published it on Sunday the 1st of March 2026. And during the course of the article, I published a number of videos which help tell the story. And I'll show you those videos now. The article starts off, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese attacked Grace Tame by calling her difficult, while on stage at a News Corp-sponsored function, which suggests that it was done in support of News Corp heir Lachlan Murdoch and his long-running feud with Tame. Albanese has since backpedalled and apologised to Grace Tame, but his apology doesn't stack up when you look at all the facts. What does stack up is that Prime Minister Anthony Albanese was playing to his News Corp audience and keeping them happy by attacking Grace Tame. But when it backfired badly on social media, and when Tame responded, Albanese quickly came up with a lame excuse. And I'll show you several videos and pictures that tell the story. And the real story we have is a weak Prime Minister who will grovel to the Murdochs for perceived political benefit. And Australia should be proud to have a young lady like Grace Tame who will fearlessly take on anyone to set justice right. Background to the Liberals and Murdoch's attacks on Grace Tame. Grace Tame won the 2021 Australian of the Year award for her advocacy for survivors of sexual assault in her work and campaigning to change laws that previously prevented survivors from speaking out about their experiences. Grace Tame is also a survivor who was groomed and raped by a 58-year-old maths teacher who was found guilty and jailed for his crimes. The next year, at the 2022 Australian of the Year Awards, Grace Tame arrived and was met by the then Prime Minister Scott Morrison. Grace Tame was no fan of Morrison and refused to smile in front of the media while meeting Morrison. The 2022 Australian of the Year Awards were in January, which was only a few months before the May 2022 federal election. And Murdoch's News Corp media and Liberal Party supporters attacked Grace Tame relentlessly. In February 2022, Scott Morrison had his wife Jenny attack Grace Tame on 60 Minutes, trying to boost support before the election, as per the video I'm about to show you, which is about as grubby as it gets. And I'll show you that video now.
There you go. Congratulations.
Last year's Australian of the Year, Grace Tame, has become a role model for many Australian women and men. But it was this awkward exchange with the Morrisons at the lodge that had everyone, except her, talking.
Right, well, welcome. Please come through.
You know, I just wish the focus had been on all the incredible people coming in. I just found it a little bit disappointing because we'll welcome you in our home.
I think she says she has the right to be whoever she wants to be. She doesn't have to answer to anyone. She's a modern woman who's decided that's her path. Do you respect that?
I respect people that, want to change things, stand up for their beliefs and are strong, but I still think there's manners and respect.
For your daughters, if they look up to a Grace Tame, you know, one day for what Grace Tame can do and make in terms of the decisions she makes about her own life, is that something that you want your daughters to grow up to be like?
I want my daughters to grow up to be fierce, strong, independent, amazing people. And I think they can still do that and show kindness to other people and be polite and have manners.
In January 2025, at a morning tea for the 2025 Australian of the Year Award nominees, Grace Tame wore a Fuck Murdoch t-shirt, as per the picture on screen now, meeting Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and his then fiancée and now wife Jodie. The t-shirt received widespread media coverage and obviously embarrassed the Murdochs. Background to the latest scandal. At the Sydney March on the 9th of February 2026, Grace Tame was criticised by federal and state MPs for leading chants of globalised intifada at a rally against a visit of the Israeli President Isaac Herzog. Ms Tame accused Australia of being the so-called democracy that punishes peaceful protesters like us but welcomes a war criminal with open arms, before chanting, "From Gadigal to Gaza, globalised intifada." News Corp, various politicians and Zionist Jews have attacked Grace Tame relentlessly since then. Grace Tame posted a video on the 10th of February 2026 in response to the attacks against her, and I'll show you that video now.
Overnight, we learned that nearly 3,000 Palestinians have been evaporated by Israel using illegal US weapons. But instead of focusing on that, our political and media classes are trying to distract the masses by focusing on words that I said at a peaceful protest on Monday night in Sydney. Disingenuously distorting definitions has been a cornerstone of Israel's propaganda strategy for decades. Choosing to put a negative spin on the word intifada, which literally means shaking off, is just another example of that. But I am not the story. The story is that on Monday night, tens of thousands of peaceful protesters gathered to decry the arrival of Israel's president, Isaac Herzog, who himself stands credibly accused of war crimes, including inciting genocide and advocating collective punishment, a man who signed his name on bombs that were used to kill men, women, and children in Gaza. The non-violent attendees of these protests were met with unprovoked police brutality. Our leaders go on about social cohesion. What's a better example of social cohesion than tens of thousands of people from many and diverse backgrounds gathering, united in the pursuit of humanity? This has been a trend for years and years and years. The only thing that has changed, that is actively disrupting social cohesion, is the overreach of state powers, which we all saw footage of from Monday night. If the media had accurately reported on this context, we wouldn't be here. The big issue at hand is that the rogue apartheid state of Israel stands credibly accused of committing genocide in Gaza after over 2 years of the slaughter of innocent civilians. The only parties to have faced punishment are the victims themselves and critics of the state. This has to change. It is time for the political and media classes to prosecute the state of Israel and not focus on individual dissidents and people fighting for justice and humanity.
News Corp reported on the 28th of February 2026, former Australian of the Year, Grace Tame, is unlikely to face charges after chanting globalised intifada at a pro-Palestinian rally, with New South Wales top cop admitting he had not watched the speech. The phrase is linked to two popular uprisings in the occupied Palestinian territories, but is regarded by swathes of the Jewish community as a call to violence. It has been criminalised in recent weeks in Queensland, with the New South Wales Parliament probe recommending the Labor government do the same. However, under current laws, the term has been reviewed on a number of occasions and not found to meet the criteria of inciting racial hatred, New South Wales Police Commissioner said. And I go on to say in the article, will the people who attacked Grace Tame for saying from Gadigal to Gaza, globalised intifada, now apologise to her? Because it's not illegal in New South Wales, and it shouldn't be illegal in Queensland anyhow, because it doesn't incite violence at all. That's just a big lie the Zionist Jews are telling people. And the article goes on, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's attack on Grace Tame. In the video I'm about to show you, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese calls Grace Tame difficult at the Future Victoria Summit, hosted by News Corp's The Herald Sun in Melbourne on Wednesday the 25th of February 2026. Interviewer Sam Weir, Herald Sun editor, asked Albanese for one-word descriptions of various people. When Grace Tame's name came up, he responded difficult after a pause. The clip went viral, sparking backlash, with Tame calling it misogynist code for a non-compliant woman. Albanese apologised the next day, the 26th of February 2026, which is the second part of the video, which I'll show you now.
One word answers, if possible. Let's go. Grace Tame.
Difficult.
Grace Tame you certainly can't describe in one word. She has had a difficult life, and that was what I was referring to. And what Grace Tame has done is to turn that difficult experience that she had into being a strong advocate for others, which is why she received, quite rightly, the Australian of the Year award. Now, there are other issues, such as the language that Grace Tame used, that I disagree with at the demonstration that was held in Sydney. So that's why it's impossible to describe people in one word.
But when Albanese apologises, he mentions what Grace Tame said at the Sydney rally in February, which should have no relevance to the apology unless, of course, it was relevant to Albanese calling Grace Tame difficult. That's also Albanese dog whistling too, and or validating the Murdochs, News Corp and Zionist Jews who are attacking Grace Tame. Grace Tame's response to Anthony Albanese. Grace Tame posted 2 responses on Instagram. The first one is up on screen now and it says, "What a patronising cop-out from a total coward." Straight from the Scott playbook, in reference to Scott Morrison, the former Prime Minister. "I'll take the badge of honour though. That and being called absolutely outrageous by the Israeli Defence Minister. Must be doing something right," she said. And the second response is up on screen now, and she says, "Dude's quoting Scott now. She's had a difficult life," in inverted commas. "Spare me the condescension, old man. We all know what you meant. A badge of honour anyway. A confession that I've ruffled him." The Sydney Morning Herald also reported on the 26th of February 2026, quoting Grace Tame, "Both men, when called out for their behaviour towards me, have used 'she's had a difficult life' as a condescending justification. Some new material, boys," Grace Tame wrote on Instagram. Summary. Anthony Albanese openly grovels to Lachlan Murdoch and his News Corp, which is strange as it doesn't do him much good. That relationship is relevant because it shows that Albanese would have been aware of News Corp's attacks on Grace Tame at the direction of Lachlan Murdoch when he labelled Grace Tame difficult at the News Corp event on Wednesday. 2 other examples of the elbow Lachlan Murdoch bromance are Albanese went to the 60th anniversary of the Australian Birthday event in 2024, which is owned by Murdoch's News Corp, and Albanese even wrote an opinion piece titled "The Australian 60th Anniversary Essay, The Decisive Decade." On Friday the 20th of February 2026, the Australian Financial Review reported Sky News has launched a rebrand with a new name and logo at an event attended by media stars, business elite and political leaders, including Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. And I go on to say in the article, Murdoch Sky News broadcast hate speech all day, every day, yet Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, who has made public statements telling the public to tone down the rhetoric, supports Murdoch Sky News lies. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese openly supports the Murdochs and their lies, and he was at a Murdoch event when he called Grace Tame difficult after pausing to think about it, knowing full well they'd potentially use it against Grace Tame. And when Albanese did apologise, he finishes his apology by dog whistling to the Murdochs and other Grace Tame haters. There's no love lost between the Murdochs and Grace Tame, and for Albanese to take the Murdoch side makes him a national disgrace. Now, I'm an independent journalist and I'm 100% crowdfunded from viewers like yourself, and I've been running a campaign to make sure I can keep on doing the work I'm doing, and I'll read that out to you. 14 weeks ago, I launched a campaign with a simple goal: find 200 new monthly supporters so I can keep on doing this work as a fully independent journalist, running this website and YouTube channel without corporate backing or paywalls. Since then, 129 wonderful people have stepped up and become monthly supporters. That's huge, thank you. We're now at 71 to go. If you've been enjoying the work and aren't yet supporting monthly, I'd be incredibly grateful if you consider joining them. Here's the situation. Like most independent journalists, I'm basically a one-person small business. Right now, a lot of us are feeling the squeeze, just like many small businesses and households are. To stay afloat and keep bringing you the reporting I do, I need roughly 200 more people, well 71 now, chipping in whatever they can comfortably afford each month. Anything from $3 to $100 or whatever works for your budget makes a real difference. There's no lock-in, you can cancel or adjust at any time. If that feels doable right now, you can see all the donation options on the donations page. I'll put a link to the donations page below this video on YouTube. Your support, whether it's a monthly donation or one-off donation or just sharing my work, is what keeps independent voices like this one alive. And please do your bit and help shine a light on corruption and share this video on social media. And please hit the like and subscribe button and notification button. That way you get notified when I publish new videos. Other than that, thank you for your time and have a good day.